My name is Danny Kim. I'm employed with the City of Fresno Police Department. I'm currently a sergeant working in the patrol division. And I'm also a volunteer board president for the United Khmer Cultural Preservation. We lived in a refugee camp for about 7 years. The United Nations created a camp for the refugees that escaped the Khmer Rouge regime. A lot of people may not know about the Khmer Rouge regime, but it was about 3 years long and about 2.5 million people were executed for no apparent reason. We have very little education, support, but we were to make it. And our family sponsored us to San Antonio, Texas. And because of the weather in San Antonio, we realized that California has very similar temperature. So we moved to Long Beach back in 1986. Somehow we ended up in Stockton and I applied for Fresno PD. They picked me up in 1998. And from then on, I settled here and I call this place my home. When we hear Fresno, before we moved here, we think about farmers. Why are we moving to Fresno? This is a farmland. There's nothing here. But as I've been living here for 2 decades, I start to realize that this is not just a farmland. This is the gateway to the mountain, to the ocean. It's 2 hours from here to the beach, about an hour and a half to the mountains. And one thing about Fresno is that you don't have to go anywhere to experience other culture. You can find a lot of original or traditional Southeast Asian food, even music and religious facility. We find everything here in Fresno. And like I said, I told my family, this is like the melting pot of the Central Valley. You can find everything here. And that's why we love Fresno. First tour that we did with the staff at the zoo, what caught my attention most was the linga, and actually it looks exactly like what you would find in Cambodia, Kolen Mountain. I almost felt that I'm actually traveling back to Cambodia because just thinking that the Thai will be walking on top of the riverbed and also have some place that they can actually interact with the community that comes in to visit them. I'm very honored and very proud of the committee who started the Kingdom of Asia to have our community involved in this project. I believe it's important that the younger generation, specifically the Cambodian, the Khmer people, to remember their heritage, where they came from. It's important because if you lose the culture and the heritage, you're not appreciating what you will see or encounter down the road, because Cambodia is a rich and vibrant culture. So I think this is important that we have this exhibit here.
My name is Pao Yang. I'm the president and CEO of the Fresno Center. Fresno Center is a nonprofit organization here in the city of Fresno. One of our biggest programs is mental health to our API community as well as the larger community. We do a lot of immigration services, food distribution, and a lot of social services to help our community navigate the system here. My journey, my family's journey to Fresno, wow, I'm a refugee. I came to the U.S. when I was 6 years old. Our community was part of the CIA recruitment for the war in Southeast Asia, the Vietnam War. So fall of Saigon in '75, our community had to flee. We had to fight for our life. We had to cross the Mekong River. A lot of our people met their fate there in the jungle of Southeast Asia. Stories of folks being attacked by tigers, tiger being tiger, right? And folks, crossing the Mekong River and drowning. 50,000 people, 50,000 Hmong individuals drowned in the Mekong River, fleeing for their life to refugee camps in Thailand. I was 2 years old during that time. My siblings had to carry me on their back through the jungle, crossing the Mekong River into the refugee camps in Thailand. And then from there is when we seek asylum as refugees. And that's when a Christian faith-based organization sponsor us to Wichita, Kansas. And then from there we started searching for our relatives and families and friends from Southeast Asia. And that brought us to Fresno. A lot of our Southeast Asian community were congregating in Fresno. Everybody was moving here because of the rich soil for farming. And that's why we all came to Fresno in '83. I grew up here. I've been here for 43 years. I live in Fresno since '83. So this is my home. I grew up riding my bike to the zoo here before all of this was built. I fish in the pond where the elephants are at right now. I paddle boat right there in that little lake right there. I used to live about a half a mile from here. So this zoo is my home. Fresno is my home. My kids come here, we come here, and I'm just honored and blessed to be part of this zoo. Just the name in itself, the Kingdom of Asia, is something that is so significant to our Asian community, especially here in Fresno, because we have a large Southeast Asian community here, and we feel proud. It brings us the honor. It makes us proud that this country, the city, the zoo, is having an exhibit that represents us. It's commemorating our community. And it is so important as our children, my children, become Americanized, that we don't forget who we are and where we come from. And that's why I'm excited about being part of this exhibit at the Chaffee Zoo.
My name is Samnang Heng. I have a duty that connecting gap or bridge between community and a stakeholder. We linkage and refer client to mental health resources and also mental health clinic that they needed. My childhood was taken over by the Khmer regime, so I can remember, I can hear the bomb, the gunshot, people yelling, screaming because there's a landmine that they step into it. As a kid, have no knowledge of what the future might look like. All you want is to be with someone that you love, which is my mom. So whatever she took me, I will go with it. And we're lucky that we escaped to Thailand. We struggle in Thailand because we are migrant, that we don't have any shelter, we don't have any food. It's a hard way to live a life. So we're fortunate to be escape from all these things to come to America. We were settled in Long Beach, California. We're the most populated Cambodian community there. I think this is back in 1987, 89. That's when things is getting kind of roughy for the teenager back then. My mom decided to let me visit my aunt here in Fresno. The first day I fall in love with Fresno. No place like Fresno for me. The entrance of the Kingdom of Asia is amazing. It's something that I want to say, you know what? You cannot pass this Kingdom of Asia exhibit. It turned out to be a wonderful project, exhibit that I can imagine. This is part of history that I can add to my chapter, saying, I'll be a part of the Kingdom of Asia. It's something I could be proud of. A piece of history that we're learning together with our younger generation. We want them to preserve the culture, learn how to love the culture, and learn how to, live with each other with the different diversity that we have. And I'm still learning every day. It's a non-stop learning about yourself, your culture, and your root. So I want people to understand that as long as you live, you all continue to learn who you are and where you're from, and appreciate your culture, appreciate who you are, your ancestors are from, so that way you can, identify yourself.
My name is Seta Nim. My work now is I'm a parent trainer with parent services with the Fresno County Superintendent of Schools. I escaped Cambodia in 1977, where we lived in the jungle border of Thailand and Cambodia. The hard part during the escape is you fear of dying every day, every minute. It's affected me emotionally, physically, and mentally. Got into Thailand in 1979, and we stayed in the refugee camp in Thailand from 1979 until late 80. I escaped Cambodia separating from my family, and I came here to the United States with my step-parents. In 1981, I arrived a small town, Eastland, Texas. Then we drove from Texas to California, to Los Angeles. We stayed in Los Angeles for about a year, and then we moved to Fresno in 1984. Stayed in Fresno since 1984. Being a part of the development of the kingdoms of Asia gave me a sense of feeling like I'm connecting back to Cambodia. Seeing the construction of the Bayon temple replication there, it's very, very excited for me, and it brings me memories. This exhibit will connect to many of our community members. It brings their memory back to the Southeast Asia. My biggest hope for guests to learn here is to understand the culture and the history of Southeast Asia, and to appreciate each other's culture. When we learn about each other's culture, we tend to appreciate each other much more in this community.
Hi, my name is Princess Soma Nordum. I am the great-great-granddaughter of King Nordum I, who was the first ruler of Cambodia. When the Vietnam War ended, the U.S. troops pulled out of Cambodia. We were actually the first group of refugees coming to America in 1975. And the reason we were the first is my father helped the U.S. Air Force, and one of the generals sponsored us. It was just my little sister and I, my mom and dad, and 250 Cambodian Air Force. When the Khmer Rouge came into Cambodia, they killed 2 million of our people. That includes doctors and lawyers and teachers, educated people, and of course the royal family. Many of his family died, like my aunts, my uncles, even his 5 kids from his previous marriage, they all died. Right before he died, I did ask him, why are we the lucky one to come to the U.S. and to survive? He just said he feels guilty till this day that he survived and his kids and others did not survive. So I just remember that. We were down in Southern California, making our new home in Long Beach, California. And Long Beach is the biggest Cambodian population next to the country of Cambodia. And at that time, they didn't have any funding or any help for refugees and immigrants. So my father said, I'm going to help build the Cambodian community of Long Beach. So he got several of his people together and he did that. A couple years later, we moved to Seattle, Washington, because there were more refugees coming to Seattle, Washington. And so my father said, I'm going to build the Cambodian community of Seattle, Washington. And in 1987, my father's friend said, we need a Cambodian community of Fresno. Would you like to come and build it? So in 1987, my mom and my dad, they actually moved to Fresno. In 1988, I came to Fresno. In 2010, I went back to Cambodia with my father to fulfill his dying wish. At that time, I claimed my title as a Princess of Cambodia. So after traveling and living overseas, I now am back in Fresno, California, and I'm helping the Southeast Asian community, but also to continue my father's legacy in helping those who needs the help. I am so excited about the new Fresno Chaffee Zoo exhibit called Kingdoms of Asia because of the exhibit, which is a replica of the entrance of Angkor Wat Temple, which is located in Siem Reap, Cambodia. It is considered the 7 wonders of the world. So to me, just bringing just the temples and the statues here into Fresno, California, the Fresno Chaffee Zoo is actually building the exhibit that actually represents Southeast Asian community. And to me, that's history right here.
My name is Wanasa Nunsuk. Everyone calls me Sam. I came here to be a professor, so I got my offer from Fresno State, and now I'm teaching at Fresno State for 4 years. It's a long journey. I was born and raised in Thailand. I came to the US for the first time to get my MA, my master's degree in anthropology in Hawaii, and then I went to Cornell University for my PhD. After that, I went back home to Thailand to teach and got my tenure in a university in southern Thailand and in Bangkok as well. And then I got an offer from Fresno State, so I came here in 2018. It's an opportunity that I cannot refuse because they offer me to teach in something that I love, in Asian art and archaeology, especially related to Southeast Asian art, related to Southeast Asian culture, that they have sizable communities of Southeast Asian peoples in Fresno, so they love to explore and extend and expand in this field. So I just love to extend my knowledge as well to this place. Because of the diversities of cultures that we have, the communities of Southeast Asian people, they are doing agriculture, something that we have in Southeast Asia as well, and it feels welcoming in the sense that we have food, we have temples. It feels like home. I feel so privileged, actually, honored and delighted to be part of this project, because this project is so meaningful for the people in Southeast Asia and people who migrated here as well from Southeast Asia to the US, and the students can come and learn about the cultures, can learn about the art and how the art and nature intersected. So I would love to see the visitors pick up on this kinds of theme that we have. Animals were not just something that below us. The animals were just not the creatures that live in the wild, but they were regarded over there in Southeast Asia as ancestors, as very powerful spirits that protect the places and uphold the world, uphold the sacred universe, and became the integral part of life of the people in Southeast Asia. It feels very privileged in the sense that we have this permanent exhibit that will live for generations and create the meaningful integration between cultures and natures in the place far from home.
My name is Yi Yang, also known as Chaffee. I am a horticulturalist. I help my team maintain the zoo, making it the best place for people to remember and they want to come back. It started in 1975. It was during the Vietnam War. We had a lot of hardship coming from Laos. We had to go through the Mekong River to get across to Thailand. And then we immigrated into multiple refugees, and we were forced out of those refugees camps through shootings. During our migration in Laos, my parents had lost 3 of my siblings, 2 sisters and 1 brother, to sickness and hunger. It was really hard. We got to the United States in 1989. Fresno means it's pretty much home because everything is here. Maybe that's the reason why we have the Fresno New Year. That's the biggest of all the Hmong New Years. We'll celebrate throughout different states, but it'll always end up here. I really want to thank the Fresno Chaffee Zoo for taking the initiative to celebrate and acknowledge our culture, our Asian culture. I am most excited about the tiger exhibit. For some reason, I was always drawn to tigers. I don't know why, but growing up, I guess I found out that my zodiac turned out to be a tiger. So maybe that's what drawn me to it.